NBA players are heroes for millions of youngsters, and while highly competitive, the sport does have a sense of wholesomeness surrounding it. However, not many fans know that some of their icons have actually had run-ins with the law, and that they have betrayed their hero badges, sometimes in rather distasteful ways. We scratched beneath the surface a little and came up with a couple of really interesting stories. Some are serious and some are less so. Most of them have flown under the radar until now. Ron Artest, also known as Metta World Peace, is a retired professional basketball player who has had several run-ins with the law throughout his career. One of the most well-known incidents involving Artest occurred in 2004 during a game between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons. After a hard foul by Pistons player Ben Wallace, Artest charged into the stands and began fighting with fans. Other players joined in the melee. The incident became known as the Malice at the Palace, and it resulted in multiple suspensions and criminal charges for Artest. Artest was charged with assault and battery. He pleaded no contest to the charges and was sentenced to 1 year of probation and community service. He was also required to undergo anger management counseling. The NBA also suspended Artest for the remainder of the season, which totaled 73 games. In 2007, Artest was arrested again, this time on suspicion of domestic violence. This was after he allegedly pushed his girlfriend to the ground and refused to let her leave their apartment. The charges were later dropped after Artest completed anger management classes. In 2009, Artest was arrested for driving under the influence. Again, he pleaded no contest to the charge. He was sentenced to community service and probation. Artest's most notorious legal incident occurred in 2011. He was charged with domestic violence once more, this time for allegedly hitting his wife in the face. Like before, he pleaded no contest to the charge and was sentenced to community service and counseling. Artest has spoken openly about his struggles with anger management. He's expressed regret for his past behavior. Following the Malice at the Palace, the NBA implemented new rules regarding player conduct and fan behavior. Sean Stevenson had several legal incidents throughout his career. One of his earliest missteps occurred in 2001. He was arrested for underage drinking and disorderly conduct in his hometown of Fresno, California. Stevenson was charged with a misdemeanor and later pleaded guilty to the charge. In 2008, he was involved in an altercation with rapper The Game at a nightclub in Los Angeles. The Game accused Stevenson of disrespecting him, and the two got into a physical altercation. The incident resulted in both men being detained by the police. No charges were filed though. In 2009, Stevenson was charged with public intoxication and disorderly conduct. This happened after he was arrested at a nightclub in Irving, Texas. He pleaded no contest to the charges and was fined $1,000. In 2011, Stevenson was again arrested for public intoxication in Irving, Texas. This time, he was found passed out in an apartment complex. He was released on bond and later pleaded no contest to the charges. Delonte West has also had several legal conundrums throughout his career. One of the earliest occurred in 2009 when he was pulled over by the police for a traffic violation. During the stop, the police found several guns in his car, including a loaded shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a loaded rifle. West was arrested and charged with multiple weapons offenses, including carrying a concealed weapon and illegally transporting firearms. In 2010, he was arrested for disorderly conduct after being involved in a confrontation with police officers outside a nightclub in Maryland. He was later released on bond. In 2016, West was spotted wandering around a Houston fast food restaurant parking lot wearing a hospital gown and no shoes. A video of the incident went viral on social media, raising concerns about his mental health. In 2020, he was involved in another altercation, this time in Washington, D.C. A video surfaced on social media showing him being beaten on a highway by another man. The incident resulted in West being taken to the hospital for treatment. The NBA has expressed concern for his well-being and offered him support and resources. In 2013, the league reportedly reached out to West and offered to pay for his treatment for his bipolar disorder. Jason Kidd has had a share of legal incidents too. One of the earliest occurred in 2001 when he was arrested for domestic abuse against his wife. Kidd was accused of striking his wife multiple times, resulting in injuries. He pleaded guilty to the charge of spousal abuse and was sentenced to 6 months of probation, counseling, and community service. In 2007, he was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence (DUI). This after he crashed his car into a utility pole. He pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of reckless driving and was ordered to pay a fine and attended alcohol education classes. In 2012, Kidd was arrested again for DUI after driving his car into a telephone pole. What is it with Kidd and stationary objects? He pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to probation, community service, and alcohol education classes. Then Wallace had a few legal incidents of his own throughout his career. One of the most notable happened in 2011. He was arrested for DUI in Henrico County, Virginia. Wallace was pulled over for driving erratically and failed a field sobriety test. He later pleaded no contest to the charge and was sentenced to 1 year of probation, a fine, and mandatory attendance at a victim impact panel. In 2013, Wallace was involved in an incident at a hotel in Virginia. He allegedly assaulted a security guard. Wallace was arrested and charged with assault and battery, and a court date was set for the following year. However, the charge was eventually dropped due to a lack of evidence. Wallace has made several comments about his legal incidents. Mostly, he expressed regret for his actions and took responsibility for his mistakes. The NBA has not made any public statements regarding any of Wallace's run-ins with the law. Look, stuff happens in life, and it is important to note that the vast majority of NBA players have never been involved in any criminal incidents. However, for those who have, there can be various reasons why they chose to break the law. Some may struggle with personal issues such as addiction or mental health challenges, while others may simply make poor decisions. The fame and fortune that come with being a professional athlete can sometimes lead to a sense of entitlement or invincibility, which may in turn contribute to risky behavior. Ultimately, it is up to each individual player to make responsible choices and seek help when needed to avoid legal issues and maintain their reputation both on and off the court. Most important, these guys are role models for generations to follow. They are reaping the benefits of an NBA superstar lifestyle, but that comes with responsibilities on and off the court. Slipping up is one thing, but becoming a habitual offender is quite another. We'll catch you in the next video, folks.